Hello, in this video I will show you how I will be adding the currency denomination to this whole arrangement. Now this follows the previous video when I showed you how this whole arrangement was made, how I brought this thing to life with not too much effort, and I actually made it publishable, right? This invoice management system, PDF generator kind of a thing. But I did forget the denomination. There is no currency to the number. Nothing was added. So that's troublesome and that needs to be added. Now do watch the previous one to actually know what's going on. And basically what I'll try to do this sort of in real time. There will be cuts, of course, and we'll do it bit by bit basically, but it will be more or less in real time. And I have not prepared, so we will see what happens. I do have a bit of a plan how to approach it. But again, there'll probably be a few errors. I'll show you how you can possibly debug them and do all those different things. So let's begin. And let's begin by simply setting it up. We need to set up the currency denominator in the invoices table, right here, the invoices table we have, and also in the invoice data model, class data model, right? So let's just start in here. Let's say, currency, right? Let's just use the word currency and that's it. And I'll probably do envar just in case, right? It doesn't hurt to be cautious. And let's do 10, okay? Just in case we need 10, let's do 10. Let's leave that. And we need to have it nullable. It will be actually easier to update the whole thing because the tables you already have records, and if it's not nullable, that may be troublesome. So we have to just do it like that. It will be added. It should work, I believe, but we will see what happens. So we have a currency in the table, and then let's jump into the invoice data. The invoice data, if you remember, that is kind of a complex class. We need to get rid of the reference for the list in the generator. So I had to build this kind of a weird configuration of a constructor, but it does work. It does work quite well. I just need to add the new property. So I'm going to do it after the logo ID. Okay, it's going to be string, as you know, currency. Let's call it that. And we have it inserted right here. And then we need to put that in here as well. Let's do it in the same order. Let's at least try to do it. Should work quite well. It's declared right here, so that will be popping up. Okay. And then invoice and then currency. Let's see if it works. Okay, so we have currency in the model and in the table. The next thing I need to do is to update the method for updating. If you remember those fancy methods, let's go into the invoice data upload class, and you can actually download the original source code from Patreon. And do watch the original video. It will be a lot more interesting to watch this improvement that I'm making. Okay, so we have update invoice data. This updates basically any table cell, right, in that database. Whichever one I want, I can update using this fancy method. It takes null and does all that stuff. Again, watch the other video, you'll find out how it all works. But now I need to update. So I will need to update the stored procedure as well as this. I'm just going to do it, I guess, after the logo. Okay, I'm going to write currency. Let's not make any typos. And then I'll need a new one right here. I'll need another parameter in the method. Okay, so let's go to the side. And let's try to do it in the same order if we can. Let's copy that. Okay, it will be assigned to null. Let's do currency, like that. Okay, so that's currency, and then currency will go in here, add with value, and it will be properly added. Okay, now let's go back to the... Well, actually, we need to go into the stored procedure. So I'm going to save what I have now. We don't have a stored procedure. Let's go right here and find it. So what do we have? We need to have the update right here. You see, we have update invoice. The stored procedure will open up, and let's get into the stored procedure. You have seen the procedure, I believe, in the previous video, but they're all more or less the same in all of these update procedures, right? We check for the null. Again, I've shown you that previously. I'm not going to get into that right now. But we will need to declare a parameter. Okay. After the logo, let's just copy down the logo. I'm just setting the cursor right here. I press Ctrl+D and it copies down. It's called copy down, right? It's a useful thing to know about, to play around with your keyboard a bit. It helps a lot, actually. So we have that, and it was, let's go back to the Invoice Data upload and copy the currency. Copy that, paste it right here. Okay, now we have it right here. We have the parameter, and let's find it. Where is the logo ID? I guess we need. Okay, let's copy that, let's paste it, and let's change that to currency. And now I'm just gonna copy the currency. Hopefully it will make it all quicker, and paste it and paste it. Okay, so now I have it all being updated. I believe the stored procedure will work. I believe the table will work, and we also have the invoice data. The invoice data model has been adjusted. Now we need to get into the new invoice page, and we need to find a place for it, right? We need to find where we can actually put it and place it. Now I will do it. I have selected a space for it, and that's going to be below the comment field. Mind you, the comment isn't actually implemented anywhere as well, so I might actually be doing a video on that, implementing it somewhere. There will be a few more videos about the stuff. There was some interest on the original ones. I will do quite a few more, and obviously the publishing as well. So there will be stuff to come. So we have the mod text field. This is the comment, okay, and we have all the updating, and we also have 6 lines. Now 6 lines aligns with the shipping address, but we don't need that many probably, so I'm just gonna turn it into free. Okay, I'm gonna make it free, and then I'm going to actually get one probably. Let's see what I can get. I'm just going to copy this down and going to probably get rid of the lines. Okay, so we have this copied down, and I'm going to get rid of the lines so that it becomes a proper text box. Okay, not text field or whatever you want to call it. Just a simple basic text box, a one-liner, right? It's still going to be a string. The T is the string, the type, but the label is not comments. It will instead be currency. See how I'm saving time by leaving the C behind. I did not delete that, I left it behind. Okay, we have a label, that's good to go, and let's just start from this side, doesn't really matter, right? It's sort of, okay, a bit backwards, but it will do the job. Let's see if I can catch it. Okay, and that's not going to be the comment, it's still going to be thou for the value, right? But we will have currency. And then this ID right here, actually it will be an ID, right? The ID is everywhere. It takes the ID and then whichever value or however many values you want to update. This method can actually work with multiple ones. So we have that working. We just need to replace this one with the currency. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to launch it and I'll see if it possibly works. So I'm not really sure, again, I'm not really prepared for this, but I do believe it should work. So let's try that and let's see what happens. I have now launched the application. We do have the currency right here. Let's just insert, say, the company name, doesn't really matter. And then I will insert the currency. But unfortunately, I don't really have a way to test it. Now you see, it doesn't seem to really work. I do that and it disappears, which shouldn't happen, right? It shouldn't happen. So something is wrong somewhere. Now let's try to debug it. Let's go back to the Visual Studio. Let's see where it could be going wrong. Okay. We have this mod text field. We have it set to the comment, so that's possibly a problem. Okay. should be currency, should be currency. Okay, so I've changed that now. I believe that might actually fix it. If I'm not mistaken, I'm just going to double check it because I do have to relaunch the program. So I'm going to relaunch it and let's see what happens. So we have it running again and let's see right away if it works. It seems to be working now. Everything is set in place. Now, the only real way to test it at this point without going any further is to actually take a look at the database. So let's go back into the Visual Studio and let's take a look at the local database. If you publish a database to your local database, and you can take a look at my video on how to do that, publish SQL Server project from Visual Studio, you can do it to the local database, you can do it to one of your servers or wherever you want basically. But you can look the data up using the Server Explorer. Usually it will be on the side right here. If not, you can find it in the tools and do all that. But I'm going to expand this one. Okay, just double click on that. It's already been connected. If you haven't connected it, it will be a bit more of a troublesome work, but it is possible to do and you don't need to download the SSMS or anything like that. It would be more comfortable, but this is, I believe, more convenient. It doesn't take so much computer space, right? All these different programs. So let's have another tables. Okay, now you see I've added the accounts. I'm not going to really show the accounts. It's connected to my Confusion Solution platform. That's where the learning platform accounts go in. It's the same account if you already bought a course on my learning platform. If you have registered there, you can actually log into this platform with the same account. You don't need to create a new one. So we have companies, invoices, items. Let's open the invoices. Let's show table data. See the data. As you can see, it will pop up. Now, unfortunately, quite unfortunately, there is quite a bit of data. And as I mentioned before, I haven't prepared for this at all. And so I didn't really expect to see that much stuff laying around, which is, well, not exactly a good thing. But I can see that we do have tests inserted in the currency, which leads me to believe that it does work. Okay, we have test right here and test right here. So this is good enough for me. I'm not going to waste any more time cross-referencing stuff. That's going to be good enough. The insertion works. Now let's move on to probably retrieving the data in the list, and then finally we'll get into generating the PDF. At this point, we can jump on to the next step, which is retrieving the invoices. So we have the retrieve invoices method, and also we have below that retrieve single invoice. For both of those, we will need to retrieve the currency. Now, if you watched the first video, you will know what's going on here, because they won't exactly match with the procedure, what we add and then what we retrieve. You see, we start from 10 and end with 7, so it doesn't make too much sense, but just watch the first video, it will make a bit more sense, right? A few things were missed, added and all that. Let's begin with a stop procedure, retrieve single invoice. And this is just a simple select statement, right? We have the ID for the invoice, then we have comments, date, use, and all that. So let's put it in the back. The reason I'm not doing it after logo ID like I did with the update is simply because I have to follow the index in the C#. It's already been set up. There are quite a few items. I don't want that hassle, right? I don't want a headache. And you shouldn't want it either. Now, if you want to make it everything perfect, go ahead, but this is not what I'm showing. I'm showing you how to make stuff happen rather than make stuff absolutely perfect and glorious. So let's just go here, and we have the selection. So let's just do currency like that. The last item, the last index will now be currency. Let's go to retrieve invoices. Okay, retrieve invoices, and let's put that in here as well. The last item will be currency. Let's save that. We have single invoice and then invoices, so that's basically the list, right? The list for the invoices. Let's begin with the list. That takes, of course, the filters. You remember the filters we had. We have date from, date to, and the status, and of course we have the owner, which is a very important thing. Had we not had it, we would have a major security leak, so we don't want that to happen. Now after that, we have everything ready to go. Unfortunately, we don't have that new item, right? The new item, which is the currency. Let's set it. Okay, see what's going on here. We have invoice list item. Now this is actually a different model. I did not set this up. It's a different model from that main invoice model, and I explained why I use it in the first video, why I separate these models. So I'm just gonna add the currency. Let's do it right here. Just copy down the string, and I'm gonna call it currency. Okay, just like that, we will have the currency. Let's get back to the Invoice Data Manager right here, and hopefully we'll have the currency. Let's see if we have it. We do indeed. And now we will need to copy one of these arrangements. Let's see which one we can do. Let's say this one. Now I will need to actually calculate the index. Unfortunately, I will have to go through that procedure because I don't exactly know which one is last, but I do know that index 10 is total, so I'll get to that a bit later. Now I need to do everything properly right here. So if that's null, that's not gonna be that. It's probably just gonna be empty text, right? We don't want nulls because that will fail when we generate the invoice. So we don't want that to happen. And we also don't need to convert it. We just need to get from the ID, we get the string. Okay, get string like that. That's the nvarchar, the string. Now I'm gonna send it to 10 initially, but now let's do the calculation. So the way I'm gonna find the index, I'm gonna look at the total. The total is the last one. That's 10. So let's start with the total. Let's go into retrieve invoices. Where is the total? Okay, so that's 10, and after that we have the currency, so that's gonna be 11. Simply 11. Alright, so let's do that. 11 and 11 right here. It should work perfectly fine. Those match perfectly. Now let's move on to the single invoice. So this basically retrieves all the invoices, all the data rather for the invoice. The previous one retrieves all the invoices, and this one retrieves everything about a single invoice. Let's copy down. Here, let's copy down. Now I do believe this ends with 8, so this one probably will be 9, the next part. We have result, add the currency, that's already there. And now it's going to be empty. Once again, we want empty string, not a null. And then let's just do rd get string, and that should hopefully work. So it's going to be 9. I believe it's going to be 9. The last one seems to be, if I'm not mistaken, of course, is discount. That's number 8, index 8 rather, and retrieve single invoice. Let's see what we have. So yeah, that's after the discount. So it should work out that way. It should work out. Now we have it retrieved. Let's go into the My Invoices page and let's actually display it somewhere, and then after that I'll launch it and see if it actually works. So we will do that in the row template. That's the table. If you don't know how to use these tables with Blazor, take a look at my video on how to do that, and take a look at my previous video about this whole program. It will be easier to understand what's happening here. So let's see the total. Now the total, I don't really care where the currency denominator goes. It doesn't really matter so far in this case. So I can always add a feature where you put it in certain places, so on the left, on the right, wherever you want, but it's not necessary. It's not necessary. So let's just do the currency. Let's do the currency, and that should hopefully be displayed, right? I believe everything is ready to go. I'm gonna publish the database locally. You can watch my video on how to do that, and if you want to learn more about SQL Server, take a look at my SQL Server course. It's going to go from basics to something more advanced, such as jobs, all those tasks and all those different things. And now let's launch it and let's see what happens. So we are now in the My Invoices page. Let's click the search. It has the date preset. Everything is sort of ready by default. And now let's look for the item with the currency, I guess. And we do have one. We have our little test currency right here. You see we have test. I'm gonna go into the edit. Let's see if that works out. Now we have I just have a breakpoint right here. Nothing too much to worry about, I believe. Okay, let's see. And we do have the currency right here. Now at this point, the only place in terms of this page that it's missing the currency is of course the total and then the items. Let's see if we have the items. Right here, the items will obviously be missing the currency. So I need to add that and then we'll get into the generating part. Now then, we are back in the new invoice page at this point, and I'll be adding the currency signs or whatever it may be here. It's the total and also in the items, and then we'll jump into the generating part and I'll try to add those things there as well. So just after the total, okay, we have the total and then we have, let's see if we can do that, at invoice. The add invoice. For some reason it's not making me, not giving me rather the suggestions. Okay, it seems to be working now, and now we have the currency. And in fact, I'll try to just copy that and then go to the bottom where we have, where do we have that, the items right here. So we have all these discounts and all that stuff. I'm gonna leave the fields empty as they were before, and then we just have the total, the item total. I'm gonna put the currency here. The currency comes from the invoice. Obviously one invoice will have one single currency. We're not making multiple currencies for multiple items, for different items rather. And then in the mod item, the list, right, the list, we will just add the currency right here at the total. That should work fine. And then we also have these calculations, so I'm probably going to add them here. Well, first of all, of course, at the price, and then at the discount, and at the sales tax. And why not? Okay, let's just put it right here, and another one right here. So we have all of that added. Let's just launch it again quickly. Let's see if it all works and gets displayed properly. So the currency does indeed work in here on the total. That's all good and great. And if we just go down to the bottom, we will need to add an item. Let's do, say, 100 the price, and let's do a little sales tax just so we can see it in a more interesting way. Do the title. As you can see, I'm just entering some random letters. That's all you have to do to test things out. Don't waste your time putting in some words that actually make sense. As you can see on the total, it does work. The currency gets displayed, and then if we add it, let's see, the currency is displayed on the sales tax, on the total, and it should be on the discount and the test. So now that's running perfectly fine and working perfectly fine. Now let's get into the generating the PDF files. Before I get into the generate invoice PDF.cs file, that class, right, I need to double check the invoice data. For the generating the PDF, we construct it in a bit of a different way, so I need to just double check. We do have currency, and that goes in right here, gets set, and we will have it available. Let's jump into the generate invoice PDF. This will be a bit more of a tricky part, right? If you remember, we have the generate method. Do watch the first video if you don't know what's going on here, because it will be rather confusing. And we add all this different kind of information. Everything at the moment is set to go one after the other, so I'll just go and sort of go through everything like that, and that's the same particular order. We have add general information. Let's go into that. Go to definition, and let's see what we have here. We have invoice, invoice ID. That's all great and good. And then we have the total. you see we have the total. Now after the total we need to have the currency. So I'm just going to add a little say space like this, and I'm actually probably gonna copy that and then just start adding to the other places. It should work perfectly fine. Let's just do a little space, okay, plus the currency that comes from the invoice. We have the currency. Now I believe it should work perfectly fine. If it doesn't work, there's nothing that we'll need to change here. It will be an error somewhere else, I do believe. Let's just give it a shot. We have the discount. Discount is a percentage. Yes, it is a percentage. So what I should actually probably do here, I need to add a percentage sign like that. I think that makes sense. Now you may be laughing at me at the moment. I don't really know. Again, I'm doing this sort of live with no preparation really. And I think we're good to go. I think we are good to go. Let's go to the top. And then we have, after the general information, we have a business information. Business information doesn't really contain any currency, so we will skip that. And then we can get into the add first page. Add first page, and here we have the price. The price, and the line, that's not where it is. And I believe this will be the more confusing part, because I actually have to find where things actually are. However, it's probably not that confusing because we do have the properties from the C#, not just text laying around, so should be quite straightforward. We have the price, so I'm just gonna paste what we had before, little space, right? And after that we have the currency, and that's it. That should work. And then we have the quantity. Quantity does not need a currency, right? But then we have a percentage for sales tax. We have a percentage for discount. After that, we have the actual amount in real money. I believe that will be after this formula. So after that, we have the currency. And then we have the currency after this one, okay? So we have it at the price, at the sales tax calculated, and the discount calculated, and also at the total. Now, I also must not forget that we do need that in the add pages. I'm going to just go right here. That was the first page. Remember, we have one method that generates a few items in the first page, and if it doesn't fit, it jumps into the add pages method, which will then fill out all the remaining pages. So let's get into this. Let's go down to the bottom. It's going to be the same thing in the loop. We have a price. The price does need the currency, and then pretty much the same exact thing after the sales tax, and then after the discount, and finally after the total. So that was pretty easy. I thought it would be a bit more confusing, but as you can see, I just followed the properties and the discount. Now I shouldn't say it was easy because I haven't launched it yet, so that's what I'm going to do now. Now then, in the list we have the invoice with 60 total tests. So this does have items, and this does have a currency. Let's go with that one, and I'll click export. We will try first of all from here, and then from the other place we'll see what happens. Okay, we just jumped in a new page. Okay, and right here in the invoice we start with test. Discount is 0% because it was 0. That's all great and good. We don't have any information for the company. We don't care about that right now. With the total, you saw that did have the currency. And then we have the 100, the price. That does indeed have a currency. Then the sales tax, that does have a currency, and then the discount also has a currency. Now, it doesn't fit the total as well, it doesn't fit the currency. Obviously, it would depend on the currency you're using, but as you can see, there are some bits and pieces here that don't exactly fit properly, that don't exactly align properly. Now, again, this is an early release, and this is why I'm showing you how you can do it quickly and efficiently without wasting time. just to get to that first release. After that, you can make everything a bit more prettier, you can spruce things up and make it look better, work better, be more efficient and all that stuff. But the important thing is, of course, to get something released. Then you're happy, you have an actual product, you have something to work for. You're not just writing code for something that doesn't exist and you don't even know what it will look like and what it will feel like when it is actually released. Now, with that said, do subscribe to this channel. There will be more videos coming for this arrangement, this PDF generator and storage system. The publishing part will be coming with some ad arrangements. You already saw some ads in here, but I'll show you how to sort of adjust the iframes, what to do with, in Blazor to display these JavaScript ads. A lot of different things I will be doing with this application, so stay tuned, subscribe to this channel, and do check out some of my courses. The C# course, the Blazor course, all these different courses will be very useful, and they aren't that expensive, especially if you go through Patreon. Support me on Patreon and get them there. And with that said, we will conclude this video.